And welcome to Pod Against Evil. Yes, we have another interview today, and guys, it is a special one. I have the one, the only Evie Barret. That's right, the sheriff herself. I should say the new sheriff. In my opinion, the best sheriff. But we can debate that. It is Janet Varney. Janet, say hi.
Hello.
Janet, are you there?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Oh, okay. I must have just cut out for you a second. That's, I've been having a problem with these witches messing with my audio quality, and
I've been there.
It's a hassle, man. Like, you'd figure they wouldn't be able to with this modern technology, but it's, I guess a troll's a troll no matter what century they come from.
That's right. That's absolutely right.
So, Janet, I am so excited to be talking with you. Well, I mean, that's not technically true. I'm actually very, very nervous. Because
come on, we go way back.
Yeah, we've done this before, and that's why I'm nervous, Janet. Because every time I've interviewed with you, you've flipped it around at me on some point, and have started interviewing me, and I've divulged like intimate secrets. Last time we talked about my miscarriage, like on mic, like how I don't know what crazy voodoo interview skills you have. They've probably developed over the years you've been doing the JV Club, which is one of my favorite podcasts. But you're not going to get me this time, Janet. Not this time.
Okay.
I'm
okay.
ready for you.
All right. I will not ask any questions.
Feel free to ask me any questions if you feel the need to. I'll deflect and it'll keep my defenses up. It'll be good practice for me.
Okay.
Speaking of keeping your defenses up, your character, I should say, has been keeping their defenses up throughout the past 2 seasons of the great show that we all love here, Stand Against Evil. And you play Evie Barret, the new sheriff in town. And, of course, you play alongside John C. McGinley, who was the old sheriff. And I absolutely love your dynamic duo chemistry going on of the old guard and the new guard button heads, probably because you're just a little too similar in your mindsets, but neither one of you wants to admit it. What is it like working with someone of John C. McGinley's caliber?
Oh, it's amazing. I love Johnny. We just hit it off immediately. It felt like we had worked together before. It was one of those kind of experiences where right away we just found a rhythm, and I think that's been really great and really key, just kind of serendipitously, because Dana has, writes such great banter back and forth between Stan and Evie. It just, it really worked out that we both kind of we sort of share the same sort of rhythmic instincts, I guess. And yeah, he's just always, it sounds, I don't mean this in like a paternal way or like any sort of a condescending anti-feminist way. I just mean it is in terms of like co-stars taking care of each other on set. I mean, he just has always really looked out for me, and I think we pay attention to each other and kind of what we need at any given moment, like in the scene. So yeah, it's just a really great, it is a great dynamic. I'm sort of saying that from the inside, not like I have anything to do with it, but just, it just happened to kind of work out that way. And it's a blast.
Wow, that is fantastic. I think it pays off in dividends as well. Your relationship between the two of you is my favorite one on the show, because I never really know where it's going to land. Speaking of which, season 2, the finale there had a pretty big reveal from John's character Stan, in the fact that he pretty much betrays Evie. And I was just wondering, like, the mindset right before the time jump in the finale, like, does that, because you just, wrapped up, season 3, the shooting there, does that betrayal, like, put a strain on their relationship in season 3, or do they kind of push past it by, the virtue of just having this apocalypse happening by the end of it, and they have to just kind of band together?
Yeah, I mean, I think if the reason had been anything other than Stan's desire to be reunited with Claire, I think that would have continued to be a real problem. Definitely, I think it comes back a little bit in the 3rd season, just even in the first episode, kind of addressing that betrayal. And I think there's a there's a thread throughout season 3 that that does remind us that Stan's actually quite good at keeping secrets from Evie when he makes bad decisions. So I think that particular dynamic is not completely over. But I will say that I think when Evie gets to the place where she sees that Stan is fighting Ida, and that she sees Claire, she sees Stan lose Claire again. In that sense, I think there's a different kind of understanding and a different kind of empathy that Evie experiences that helps get her past this idea of Stan betraying her. If it were, like I said, if it were anything other than like the love of my life, I had the opportunity to undo something that happened to the love of my life, it would be harder to accept. But that is the truth of it, and he really loves Claire.
Yeah, it's a very devastating loss by season 2. I love the fact that when he brings up the Evie's daughter, the look that the Evie gives him is like, you said the one thing, you bastard. But that's not the only character you share a relationship with, because there's also David Koechner is coming back for season 3, I believe, as your ex-husband Kenny.
That's right.
I am so excited to hear that. I love David Koechner. I can't wait to see him as this half moth person. I really am intrigued by that in the trailer. I must ask you while I'm here, Kenny is such a pathetic, just sad baby of a man. And I have a hard time envisioning Evie, the badass as I know her, with Kenny at any point. What do you feel like is your mindset? What's your backstory you've made up in the fact that how did Evie and Kenny kind of got together?
Dude, I have no idea. I keep waiting for Dana to explain himself, but my biggest fear is that he has no idea. He just loves the idea that Kenny's a complete idiot, and Dave Koechner does such an astonishingly great job at playing characters like that. I'm afraid. I'm very much afraid, and hopefully you'll get a chance to ask Dana this, because I want him to account for himself. I'm very much afraid that he cannot really explain how or why that happened. I mean, I think certainly there are people that fall in love and who end up kind of unraveling into the worst versions of themselves. Mm-hmm. So it's certainly possible that he was a better guy at some point. But I agree with you that we certainly have seen no indication of that. And I would really like for Dana to account for that in some way, because I think that the fans also want that. I think that I stand with the fans in hey, explain yourself.
I need an answer for sure. It's vexing me. And we will be interviewing Dana Gould at some point. I can't say when, but I will put the screws to him when we get him on. There will be no stone left unturned. My co-host actually developed a theory that I thought might work, is that Kenny and you were high school sweethearts back before Evie learned self-esteem, and then she got pregnant. Basically the relationship evolved out of that. But I don't think that rocks with the timeline of how old, Grace is. And so I'd say that I put a hole in that theory, but I could be wrong. So we'll make sure to ask Dana when we have the chance.
Yeah, let's do it.
I also want to, we were talking about the David Koechner episode. That's also the werepony episode. So, as of I've done extensive research on this, extensive werepony research. As far as I know, you and of course John C. McGinley are the only ones to have not only fought but defeated a werepony at any source of myth or mythology.
Oh my gosh, that's pretty special.
I would like to declare this okay, so there are no wereponies in Ash vs. the Evil Dead? Well, fuck it then. Stand Against Evil is the superior show. That is how much I love the werepony.
I love the werepony too. I love that it doesn't really make that much sense either. Wait, so he turns into a pony, but then he also turns into a guy, but then he also turns into a werepony. Like there's like the settings are, I guess, like, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm trying to.
Well, it's like a werewolf doesn't turn into a man doesn't turn into a werewolf and then a regular wolf. Like
that's right. That's where I'm going with it too. Like it's almost more like Dracula in that sense, where he can sort of transform into multiple forms rather than like there's a real shapeshiftery kind of thing going on. But actually, you know, the only movie I think that actually did something kind of like that is Mike Nichols' Wolf, the movie Wolf with Michelle Pfeiffer and Jack Nicholson. He sort of turns into a werewolf, but then gradually he just turns right into a wolf. Like it's like that's like a process. That eventually he goes full wolf, as does Michelle Pfeiffer. Spoiler alert. It's a very old movie, so you have no excuse if you feel I'm spoiling something. People,
are you kidding me? I love is a strong word. I find Wolf very endearing.
I really like it. I really like it. I think it got bad reviews, I think. I actually totally like it. I think it's great.
Well, there's not a whole lot of actually truly great werewolf movies. Like there's the Wolfman, the original, and then we have Wolf, American Werewolf in London. And then there's like, I mean, if you're going to go schlocky, you want to go Dog Soldiers for sure. And so, yeah, I hold the even the ones I just like, I hold them in deep, regard.
Yeah. There's a new one out that I haven't seen. There's actually supposed to be a pretty good new werewolf movie that's out. That's like an indie kind of a horror movie. I can't remember what it's called.
I will have to look up indie werewolf movies. I'm sure I'll get, a whole bunch of hits. Yeah. So I'll sift through that later.
Great.
But speaking of Jack Nicholson, I would like to talk about the dating, or what was it, the Bachelor type episode with Jeffrey Combs.
Oh, sure.
I love your performance in that because I knew you did a pretty good Owen Wilson impression, but I didn't know you did a Jack Nicholson too. This is amazing.
That was really fun. I guess I should maybe I should polish that Jack Nicholson impression a little bit more. But that was a really, really fun episode to do. I was super excited when Dana told me he was doing something like that.
Well, I loved it because me and my roommate watched the shows together, and when you started, I was like, man, she's giving me some real like Jack Nicholson vibes. I'm not sure if like that's what she's going for. And then I remember the line distinctly. It was, "You're trying to ruin my fairy tale ending," and then you move your head in this weird tilt, and I'm like, holy shit, that's a Jack Nicholson tilt. And I was like, she's gone full Jack Nicholson. She's gone full Nicholson. And
that was totally unintentional, but I'm sure that I was thinking about it because of the kind of the feel of like losing your mind and walking around with a knife and like kicking in a door. And I'm sure if we'd had The Shining axe, just probably I would have chopped down the door. So it was probably just somewhere floating around in my unconscious.
Yeah. Also in that episode, I actually wanted to ask you this while I had you here. This deep nerd cut that I want to see if this is a for sure thing, because there's a joke in there, where you first see the Bachelor show and one of the bachelorettes, I think one of their Jennifers or something, they get eliminated. And you say that you got Evie's character, Evie, says she got a strong lesbian vibe from the woman that was eliminated, which I thought was very funny on its face. And then I was thinking about it later that day. I was like, why is that joke funny to me? I don't know why. And then I remembered that you were also on another dating parody, which was called Burning Love, in which your character was actually a lesbian. So I was like, holy shit, is that like a deep cut? Like, was that on purpose in the script, or am I seeing connections where there are none?
Well, first of all, you're not seeing connections where there are none, because I said the exact same thing. But Dana, who I do think has seen Burning Love, it's going to be even weirder if he hasn't. But he wrote that. And so when he sent me the script, I said, "Oh, this is really funny. Did you do that because I played a gay character on Burning Love?" And I think he looked at me kind of blankly. So,
okay.
for you and for me, it was absolutely a wink at that past show. And I think maybe in his unconscious, again, all these things are happening in our unconscious, which probably just means we're doing too much, and we need to like stop and really pay attention to ourselves more. But I don't think, I'm pretty sure he like wasn't thinking that when he wrote it. But at the same time, I'm like, but you must have been thinking that, like somewhere deep down, you must have been thinking that. But also that might have been an episode that like he broke the story. He might have worked on the outline in the story with another writer, and then the other writer might have written it. So I should revisit that, because it's also possible that that was something that like the writer who actually fleshed out all the jokes and stuff might have done, in which case it doesn't matter if Dana remembers that it's a burning love thing or not, because that the other person might. So I'll have to look into that.
I thought it couldn't be anything but intentional, because it was so specific. I was like, holy shit. Like, and I immediately get now the joke works on two levels for me. So I just love it even more. So whether or not it's a happy accident, I'm just glad it worked out.
I heartily agree.
You were speaking of, of course, doing too much as well. And I know the shoot must be really like you shoot in a crazy amount of time for these seasons. Is it like 8 weeks or something?
It's less than that. I think we shoot it in 6 weeks.
God damn.
8 episodes in 6 weeks. Yeah, we work really, really fast. I love it. I love working at that pace, but it's definitely breakneck. Okay,
I feel like you would have to leave me behind at some point. I would not be able to keep up. There'd be the moment where you'd look back and I'd be on the ground and just go on without me.
Yeah.
Just shoot my death scene here.
We'll send you back a drone with some food and supplies.
Oh boy, the convenience of modern technology. Yes, something that Willard's Mill probably does not have.
That's right.
Man, it'd be a lot easier to fight witches with drones. Actually, I guess we just have this advanced shovel technology. We're all right.
That's right.
So, what's the general vibe on the set too? Is everyone kind of like, I mean, does it put any more stress on the crew shooting that fast? Is there any other, like, more pressure to get the takes right in a shorter amount of time, or is it, seem pretty civil?
Well, it's both. I mean, it is very civil. It's a really, really fun set. There are crew members who leave their higher paying Marvel movie jobs temporarily to come shoot with us because they say it's like the silliest, kind of most fun, craziest set. It's sort of like a weird summer camp where all of a sudden you have to jam together and like just, knock out a bunch of stuff. So I'm very, very happy to hear that people, are sad when the show is ending because it happens so quickly. We go through it so quickly. But at the same time, there definitely is, I think maybe people like that, the kind of raised stakes of having to knock out a bunch of stuff. Maybe they're like me because it is definitely like, for sure, you said it. I mean, you have to get it right real quick. Because there just isn't a lot of time to, Stanley Kubrick your way through it and do 1,000 takes of one shot. So I think you have to have a certain kind of mentality, to want to be on a set like that. But, I think we're just really lucky that we have this extraordinary group of people who thrive in those circumstances. And when they're not thriving, if something goes wrong, there's a sense of adapting to it and kind of being, a team player about it. So even for me personally, even the things that are like hiccups, end up, you work out some solution and then you feel like a sense of camaraderie for having gone through it together.
I love that. I love that. I also kind of thrive on the higher pressure sort of thing. So I totally get where you're coming from with that. It just adds
It's a very specific kind of exciting, for sure. The adrenaline of it.
It's like a scared energy that I get when I'm interviewing someone I'm not prepared for. Not this interview. I'm totally prepared for this one. Let me just quick write note here. What's it?
Yeah.
But yeah, I really enjoyed you in season 2, where things got even crazier. The emotions got higher. The stakes are have never been bigger. In season 3, what can we expect from Evie's character? Do we expect some more contention with Stan? Maybe a little more growth into being comfortable with the town? Is she not as seen as much of an outsider? What's Evie's kind of mindset at for season 3?
Well, I do think that she's that she's a little more comfortable in her position, but season 3 also is like super wackadoo in the amount of kind of homages to other things we have going on. So we have a lot of little small worlds built within this larger framework of the show, which will, I guess, make more sense when you see it. But we do have a sort of big bad of the season, and we certainly have raised stakes in terms of like what Stan and Evie and Denise and Leon are all dealing with. But there are so many like standalone, really specific stories that get told within that framework it's just a whole new group of things that she has to deal with, and stuff that she goes through, and there's, if you've seen the trailer, that at one point she gets turned into a vampire, which is like its own wonderful journey. So yeah, it's I just got to do a bunch of really fun stuff again, and Denise kind of has her weird moments where she has to kind of be the badass for a change, which I love. And then Nate's character has like one of the best kind of fight sequences the show has done, and I'm so excited for people to see it. It's really impressive, and very you feel real bad for Leon.
That's I already do, so that's I'm already at the right mindset there. I love that you said about Deborah Baker Jr. It's no secret that Denise is our one of basically our favorite character of the show. No offense, Janet. It's just that
totally fine.
Deborah Baker Jr. represents all us millennials out there that are not prepared to deal with the real world. So it's just, sure. She is our avatar, our spirit guide, if you will.
That's right.
And I have had this dream since season 1, actually, of Denise the Vampire Slayer. And it looks like we might get that in this season 3.
Your dream's coming true.
Yes! Oh my God, I'm so excited. And plus, you get to play a vampire. That is so much fun. Have you ever played a vampire before?
No, I haven't. And I didn't know how much I was going to. Yeah, it's my first time. And I did not realize how much I would enjoy it. I mean, I think when I was little, I definitely was like real into vampires, and I was very excited that there's like an old vampire fiction named Varney the Vampire, like one of the earliest like inventions of a vampire in storytelling. So that's a rare enough name that like that was kind of an exciting claim to fame when I was in like 4th grade. But yeah, it's not something that I had put on like the to-do list. And then they fitted me for my teeth at Autonomous, which is the amazing special effects, like creature effects, makeup effects, all that kind of stuff group that we work with. And I put those teeth in, and I was like, oh no, I'm really into this in a way I was not expecting. So I think it turns out, even if you don't think that you care about being a vampire, something happens when you put in those teeth and suddenly you have fangs.
Oh, sure. Well, I mean, I'm no stranger to that. Being the pale one that I am, I have been in a situation where it was dealing with a girl in which she wanted me to wear vampire teeth before, sex. And
interesting.
Oh yeah, it was really interesting. It was that, and then it was immediate oral after that. So, and oh damn it, Janet, you're doing it again.
No, I did not ask. I did not ask. That was volunteered to me. That was 100% volunteered.
You somehow tricked me. I'm going to go back and look into the recording. You somehow made this happen.
Your Honor, I object. Yeah. Well, listen, it's definitely a whole thing, and I couldn't. I was like, why have I never even I'd never even dressed up as one for Halloween. So my this sweet man in my life, I can never come up with a phrase that I can stand. He actually, we used him on that episode and gave him vampire teeth. And we both got to keep our vampire teeth. So we've kind of been eyeing them, trying to figure out what to do with them next.
That's great. Yeah. Well, I hope your sweet man enjoys his vampire teeth as well.
Good Lord, whatever. It's like, really, sweet man is better than just saying like your boyfriend or your fiance or your life partner or your like significant other. There's so many options, and then I just come up with like a non-term. So I'm not sure what that was about.
Well, as a recently single man, I am. They all make me insanely jealous. Anyway, so I hate the fact that anyone is happy that is not me. So
oh my gosh,
it doesn't really matter.
We've all been there. We've all been there. That's for sure.
But yes, that is just my dark mindset. Also, if I will, your vampire name could be Nos Varnitu.
Sure, Nos Varnitu.
That was terrible.
Absolutely.
Now they don't all work.
I'm into it. I'm into it. It's slightly Hispanic, which coming from Tucson, Arizona and going to a bilingual school for the first 6 years, I absolutely embrace Nos Varnito. Maybe it should be Nos Varnita, I guess. Nos Varnita.
Nos Varnita.
We'll feminize it.
Yeah, okay, yeah. As long as we're going to the Spanish language version of it, yeah. I mean, that's the better version of Dracula anyway.
There you go.
But yeah, I am really excited to see that. I'm excited to see you fight Muppets, which seem to be amazing.
Oh God, those puppets were so great. How creepy.
The one that they show in the trailer that like has the crazy eyes and the flashing lights kind of haunts my dreams.
Yeah, understood.
He visits, but he's also on the body of my father. It's weird. It's. I love that, and of course we have the Godzilla parody with Kenny, the Fox and Mulder. Like I feel like season 3 is really pulling out all the stops of just like
it's packed.
We're just gonna take this one and hit it out of the park. Whatever we can think of, we throw it on screen, and I absolutely love that energy with it. Is there anything that, God forbid, the show does not get picked up for season 4? Knock on wood. Shovels up, guys. But is there anything that you have not done yet, horror action-wise, that you would love to do on Stand Against Evil?
Well, the simple answer to that is that I have an episode that I started writing that I would love for us to be able to make. So the simplest answer is that I hope that we get to make the episode that I would write, because I think it would really go some fun places. But I don't want to give too much information about it since it's like a big question mark at this point.
Sure. Well, that sounds
but
amazing.
I will say it's a very Denise-centric episode, so.
I love it already, Janet. You're speaking my language.
I said the magic words.
You just, you know where my heart is at when it comes to Stand Against Evil. Oh my goodness.
I do. Oh,
I absolutely love it. Of course, you also, that's not the only IFC project you have upcoming for, with Stand Against Evil Season 3. You also have a new project that you've undertaken yourself called Fortune Rookie. Would you like to describe a little bit of what that's about?
I would love to. Yeah. So that is a show that has kind of been making the rounds of my brain and a little bit of the business for the last few years. It's existed in different kind of inceptions. Like it's existed as like a half-hour sitcom and as sort of a daily show type show. And what we ended up actually doing that will be actually making it to the public is through IFC, and it's sort of like Curb Your Enthusiasm, I guess, in that sense that I'm playing a version of myself who's kind of more obnoxious and shitty than my actual self, and it's sort of predicated on the idea that I am I have a random encounter with like a fortune teller / psychic type person who immediately intuits that I myself am psychic, and I suddenly just, decided to take that super seriously. So I quit show business and try to pursue a career full time as a fortune teller. And so hilarity ensues. And that's going to be available at the beginning of October through IFC.
Great. I am looking forward to it. And I'm a sucker for a pun. I'm a sucker for. I am there for it.
Oh yeah, yeah. That was a title that came to my brain like way too fast and very early on. And there's a website too that you can go to fortunerookie.net for updates and for more information.
And you definitely want to go here, guys, because there's an amazing guest cast list here that is just fantastic. It includes Scott Addis, Deborah Baker Jr. from Stand Against Evil. I mean, I'm already sold. I couldn't be more sold than this already. Brian Husky, John Michael Higgins. Like, there's so many great people on this cast. Like, how did you get them to say yes? Do you have a blackmail file on them, or are you really this nice of a person that everyone is your friend?
Well, I did not blackmail anyone. I will say that I think that what we created was just a lot of fun for everyone involved, and we tried to kind of make stuff that we thought everyone would have fun with. People, like, what are their strengths and what do we know that they, sort of like have fun playing and doing. And so it was, I think I'm just really lucky to be a part of a community of people who love working on stuff together. So, when you can say, hey, I have this really fun thing for you to do, and you'd be doing it with XYZ, other amazing person, that really helps too, is people are like, oh my gosh, I love that person I never get to see. Sure. I'd love to spend the day with them. So, I think that's a big part of it too.
That is amazing. One of these days, maybe I'll try another show for another podcast where I can get some real dirt, where people really talk shit about each other. Because every time I interview anyone for Stand Against Evil, it's all about how nice everyone is and how everyone loves. It's like, oh, I
know. It's unfortunate, isn't it?
It's great for me because I love, as a Stand Against Evil fan, I love that you all love working on it. But as a podcaster, it could get a little more Jerry Springer in here. I wouldn't complain about it. I believe we had your a friend of the pod, Mick Ignis, on, and he referred to you as an eternal sunshine battery, which I think.
Oh my God. He should talk. He's so much more positive on set than I am. He's just like nothing flaps him. He's unflappable, even in, 100-degree weather and in a suit with contact lenses that make him blind. He's still just totally cheerful and great.
I agree as well. We really love Mick here too. And you know what else I love? Talking with you, Janet. And it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. I am so happy with how this turned out. I am gunning for season 4. Hopefully that happens so we can have you on again next year and talk about that.
My pleasure.
I would absolutely.
My absolute pleasure. Well, I think you did great. I did not pry anything out of you as much as you might insist otherwise. And all that really happened was that you revealed that you went out with a girl who had a weird vampire teeth kink, and that you have had a breakup and you hate everyone who's not broken up with someone. I mean, those are just two very minor, very, very, very intimate facts. Yes.
I'm okay with everyone knowing how bitter I am. The teeth thing is a little weird. Yes, this has been an absolute pleasure. Would you like to tell the people at home where they can find you, the JV Club podcast, or follow you on Twitter or anything like that?
Absolutely. On Twitter, I'm at Janet Varney. On Instagram, I'm the JV Club. The JV Club website is the jvclub.org. It was created by my wonderful pal, Chris Royce, who also runs the JV Club Twitter account. And he also helped work on the Fortune Cookie website with my other partner in crime, Heather Wilson, who I refer to sometimes on the podcast as Eagle Eye. They both stepped up and helped me on the social media side, because that's not necessarily my strong point. So lots of love and thanks to them as well.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. Thanks you everyone for listening. Definitely check out the JV Club podcast. It's one of my favorite podcasts on iTunes.
Thanks, Nick.
I listen to it all the time. Yes. That's where I steal all my great interview techniques and credit Janet never. Except for this
I'm
part.
very flattered.
Except for this part where I'll edit that out. No, they're all.
Please do.
No one helped me with my success. I'm my own hero. But yes, thank you guys for listening, and may the owls abide. See you later, Stan fans.
Bye.